Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Data Analysis with Dr. Veronica. So this video is a continuation of the text functions that we've been looking at. In the previous video, we looked at the left function. This video, we're looking at the right function. How to use the right function, how to apply it to real life situations. We also went through this, we are also going through the substitute function, and we would use examples to combine the right function with the search and substitute functions to get a more efficient way of using the right function. If you're new to this YouTube channel, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up so that other people can also see the beautiful content that we have. Hit the notification bell so that you will get notified. And please do not forget that the link to the practice file for this video is in the description box. So do well to download it from the description box so that you can practice as you watch the video. We'll delve right into looking at the right function. In the previous video, we looked at the left function. So the right function is another text function that is used to get a substring from a text string. But this time around, it's coming from the right. The previous video where we looked at the left function, you will get a substring from a text string from the left. But in this video, it's coming from the right. So we would apply the first one. Let us say that we have a set of names where you have the full name and the full name, which includes the first name and the last name, and you just want to extract only the last name information, right? So you can use the right function to achieve this, and we can see the argument of the right function. The first one is the text, and the second one is the num chars, which is basically the number of characters that you want to see. Okay, in this case, it's 4 because the surname of this individual, Doorbell, the surname, which is Bell, has 4 characters. And you hit the enter button on your keyboard, and this is what you have. And of course, like I mentioned in the previous video, you can use the flash fill function to get this as well, to extract just the surnames of individuals if you are given a set of names of people. Okay, but then you can also use the right function to achieve this. And if I would drag this down, you would see that in this case, it is not using the right function just the way it is will not give you efficient results because not everyone has the same number of characters in their surnames. For example, you have springboard, and board is 5 characters, mat is 3, and this incredible mom is just 3 characters, right? So this means that we need to add other functions to the right function so that we can get exactly we can just get exactly the surname, okay, the full surnames of everyone. So in this situation, we are going to use add the len function and the search function. Now remember that the len function tells you the total number of characters, right? So in this case, let me just take this out. The len function tells you the total number of characters in a text, and this is what we have. So basically, Springboard has 12 characters, and this includes the spaces, by the way. Okay, but then what we need is what we want is just the surname, okay, which is in this case, like you can see for board, it's 6 characters only. So what we will do is that what we have also noticed, what we notice in this particular data is there is a space between the first name and the last name. And we can use this space to our advantage to tell Excel that every word after the space, which is a surname, is what we want. Okay, so we have used len to determine how many characters, and we tell Excel to subtract. Okay, subtract give us, so basically tell us how many characters we will have after the space. Okay, this is what we're using the search function to achieve. And the find text argument in the search function. So I'm telling Excel, find the space for me within this text, and we do not need the third argument, which is optional anyways. And I press the enter button. So here, Excel has told me that after the space, there are 5 characters after the space. And if we just drag this down, we're going to see that it is very tailored, it is very customized. In the next example, which is doormat, we have just 3 characters after the space. So we would use the right function to get what the word is, the word that is representing the 5 characters after the space. What is it exactly? So we put right in front of all of this, and we select the text, which is A4, and all the other arguments represents the num-chars, okay? Because like we already saw from the arguments of from the solution of the learn and the search, we're able to see that 5 characters. Okay, so this already satisfies the num-chars argument, and I close the bracket once more, and this is what I have. Easy peasy and very efficient. So we go to the next example, which we want to get the substring after a special character. In the first example, this special character, I would say, was the space, but in this case, we have a comma delimiter. Okay, and of course we can use the same method like we used in the first example. So this is another example to show in what other instance this can be used. I just want to get the codes of the states. Okay, and in this case the common delimiter is the comma. So the first thing, we get the len. The len will tell us how many characters we have, and then we will subtract from the len, okay, all the characters before the delimiter. We will subtract from the len. The len tells us the total number of characters. Now the search function tells us how many, it gives us the position of the particular text that we're looking for. In this case, we're looking for the delimiter. It gives us the position. Okay, and the search function calculates from the right. Sorry, the search function calculates from the left instead. Okay, so it's looking at this text beginning from the alphabet A, Akwa Ibom. Beginning from the alphabet A in Aqua. So it's looking at it from the left. Okay, this is why this is very useful in this case. So we are looking for, in this case, we are looking for the comma delimiter, and we put the comma separator, and within text is this, and we close the bracket. So in this case, of course, after we have done the subtraction, Excel is telling us that we have three characters after the comma separator in this particular instance. Okay, we have 3 characters, and of course this is correct because Excel sees the space as one of the characters. Mind you, after Akwa Ibom, we have a comma, we have a space before AK, and I am asking Excel how many characters exist after the comma, which is the space is 1, AK is 2 and 3. So this is correct. I am just going to take off the highlight, and then we move to the next. So I can just drag this down to see it is the same, because after we have Niger, after the comma we have a space and we have NI. If I just take out the space before NI and I hit the enter button, we can see that the number here has reduced to 2. So I'm just going to include the space so that we can get on with it. Now, the next question is, we have 3 characters, of course, after the comma separator or the comma delimiter. How do we know what those 3 characters represent? This is where the right function comes in, and we're just going to do this. The right, we select the text, which is in this case, we put the comma separator, and the num_chars has already been determined with the combination of the len and the search functions. And I'm just going to put the comma, and this is what I have as the result. This is awesome. So we go to the next example. And before we continue with the right function, I just want to talk a bit about the substitute function, because we are going to need it in the next examples that we are going to work on. I'm just going to expand this, make it 110%, so that, yeah, it's a bit bolder than what we had before. Perfect. So we are looking at the substitute function, and why we're looking at this function is because we will need the substitute function to do the next example for the right function. And the substitute function, of course, it's basically a function that you use to replace one value with the other value. You use to replace one value with another value. This is what the substitute function is. And in this case, we want to, the first example is we want to replace special characters with nothing. In this example that we have, the first set of examples under the substitute function, we can see that we have a set of phone numbers that is separated with a hyphen. And we do not want to see the hyphen. So we want to replace this hyphen with nothing. So what we do in this case is just type substitute. So just like we can see, the substitute function replaces existing text with new text in a text string. Okay, so these are the arguments for the substitute function. The first one is the text that you're looking at. The second argument is the old text, okay, what it is that you want to replace. The third argument is the new text. What do you want to replace the old text with? And the fourth argument is the instance number. This fourth argument is optional, right? So, but it just tells you, it tells you the position of the replacement, which position or where do you want to replace the new text with the old text. This is what this fourth argument says. So we are going to choose, for us, this is our text. We want to replace the hyphens, like it said. So we are going to put that in like that. The new text, we want to replace the hyphen with nothing. So I'm just going to put the quotation marks with nothing. And in this case, we do not need the fourth argument. So I just hit the enter button, and this is what I have. When you have a task that you have a set of phone numbers with certain delimiters like a hyphen or a comma, and you're asked to remove those delimiters, this is how you can get that with using the substitute function. We go to the next example, which is replacing a character with another character in a specific location, right? In this case, we replace the hyphen with nothing in all the locations. But in this particular example, we want to replace the hyphen with a special character in a specific location. And in this case, we are going to use the hash sign, and we are going to use the asterisk sign instead. And we would only replace asterisk in the third location with the third hyphen. We have three hyphens. The first one, we have the hyphen here. We have another hyphen here, which is the second one. And we have the hyphen here, which is the third one. So we want to replace this asterisk sign with the third hyphen. We are looking at this text, of course, from the left-hand side, okay? So we are just going to do the substitute. And in this case, our text is this. The old text is this. The new text is the asterisk. And the instance number is 3. So we are replacing with the third hyphen only. This means that the first and the second hyphen will remain. Okay, in this case, we have used the fourth argument, and let's see how this works. This is exactly what you're supposed to have if you're also practicing alongside with the video. So we have successfully replaced only the third hyphen with the asterisk sign. Okay, now we go to the next example where we do a nested substitute. So if you can as well do a nested substitute, which is doing a substitute inside the substitute function to get a specific result. This is what we have. We have these abbreviations BRL, comma, PL. And in this case, we have January, comma, February, the abbreviations of the months of January, February, and March. And what we want to see, we want to expand these abbreviations. We don't want to see BRS. In this case, we want to see bank reconciliation statement. We also want to see the profit and loss statement typed in full. In the second example, we want to see January, February, and March typed in full. So how do we get this? Using a nested substitute. So in the first instance, we type the substitute function. This is our text. Okay. In the first place, we want to replace BRS with the comma separator. We want to replace it with bank reconciliation statement in full. And we don't need the third argument, right? So this is the first one that we have done. See how it has come out really beautiful. But then we still have the second abbreviation showing up, which is PL. So we can use a nested substitute to get the second abbreviated word to be in full. So I'm just going to put substitute in front of the first one, and we have the text there already. The old text is PL, and the new one is, let me put the quotation mark, we put the profit and loss statement, and we close the bracket. This is what we have. I'm just going to wrap this so that we can see what it looks like. So this is beautiful. Just to note, a very important point is that the substitute function is case sensitive. So let us assume that we put small pl here. So small letter. This, it's not showing, like the nested substitute function is not giving us the result that we want. And this is because the substitute function is case sensitive, just like the find function. So always take note to put exactly, to represent the information with the same case that you have in the text. The next example is the substitute, like we're going to see. In this case, we are substituting with 3 different texts, and this means we need 3 substitute functions, right? I'm going to select the text, the old text. Remember, it is case sensitive. I'm just going to type this, and I put the quotation mark, January, and I close the bracket, and this is what I have. I'm going to put a second substitute function into this. Open the bracket. My text is that already, and my old text is Feb, and I want to replace this with February. And I close the bracket, and this is what I have. And to do for the month of March, I am going to add yet another substitute function, just like this. And I already have my text, and the old text I want to correct is March. Take note because it is case sensitive, and I put like so, and I close the bracket, and this is what I have. Easy peasy. So we need this knowledge of substitute to work on the next example. Next, we are using the right function. Remember, we're still on the right function. We just looked at the substitute function so that we would see how we would use the substitute function and embed into the right function to get a specific result. So we would look at how to use the right function to get a substring after a delimiter. In this case, I'm going to increase also the zoom. I'm just going to zoom this out. Okay, this is what I've got right now. So it's a bit bolder than what we had earlier. What we want to do in this situation is to extract just the last four numbers. How do we use the right function to extract just the last four numbers? Just in case I want to use I just want to use the right function the way it is and say for numchars, okay, and I drag down. I mean, we have the same result, but let us assume that we have this included. So we can see that for this particular example, we are not able to get the last phone numbers after the last delimiter. Okay, so this is a limitation if we do not have information that follows the same pattern. In this case, the phone numbers after the last delimiter is 5 characters, but in the first two examples, it's 4. So we cannot just apply the right function the way it is. We need to do something about the function so that we can get the exact results that we're looking for. So to do this, it's a bit more complex than using using the right function just the way it is, because in this case we have a delimiter and we have data that does not follow the same pattern. So in this case, what do we do? Now that it has gotten a bit complex, we need a mix of functions to help us achieve this result. And we are going to start from the scratch. And just by my right in column C, I have the formulas showing up. But of course, we will go through how these formulas are developed and how it works. Okay, so the first thing is that we determine the length, which is the number of characters in the length of text. We can see that in this case, the number of characters are 6. Of course, it differs. Like I said, the data that we have does not follow the same pattern. So while the first one is 16, the second one is 15, and the next one is 14 characters. So the next thing that we will do is to replace the delimiters with nothing. Okay, we have delimiters, which is a hyphen, and in this case, it is 3 hyphens that we have in the entire text string. We would replace the delimiters with nothing. Okay, and then we calculate the length of the text string. So let us replace the delimiter with nothing. How to do this is with the substitute function that we have just seen in the previous example. So we have this, and this is our text. Okay, we want to replace the hyphens. The old text is that we want to replace the hyphen with nothing. Okay, and then we close the second bracket, and this is what we have. So replacing the hyphens with nothing in the first example has reduced the number of characters from 16 to 13. And this is correct because we have 3 hyphens, right? So if you take out all the 3 hyphens, that means we are left with 13 characters only. And it's the same for the other 2 examples. Now we're heading somewhere. The next thing that we need to do is that we need to subtract the length of the entire text string with the length of the text string without the delimiters. Okay, remember that the length of the entire text string is 16. The length of the text string without the delimiters is 13. So this means that, I mean, just on the top of the head, we are expecting to get that our answer will be 3. Okay, and this is what we have, right? So I'm going to do this. We're subtracting, and like I said, the answer should be 3, which is what we have here. So I'm going to drag this down, and this is what I have. I have 3 for all of them because the hyphens is just 3 in number. The next thing that we are going to look is that we will do another substitute function to replace the last delimiter with a special character. We want to replace the last delimiter with a special character so that we will tell Excel, please give us the last phone numbers after the last delimiter. But in this case, all the delimiters are the same. We have 3 hyphens. So how do we tell Excel to give us the last phone numbers after the last hyphen? Okay, we can do this by substituting the last hyphen with a special character so that we use that special character to do the command to Microsoft Excel. So what we need to do is to use the substitute function to achieve this. And I'm going to select a 3 in the substitute function. And we're basically telling, let me start this from the top. So substitute, and I'm selecting this as the text. And then I'm telling, basically what I want is that the delimiter, which is the hyphen, should be replaced with a special character. In this case, I want my special character to be the asterisk. And let us see what we have right here. I'm just going to cover this with another bracket sign, and this is what I have. So when doing this practice, you should also have an output that looks like this. And I'm just going to drag this down. Okay. And now that we have this, so this looks pretty easier to tell Excel. We can see that we have replaced the last hyphen with an asterisk. And now we can tell Excel, give us all the values after the asterisk. Okay. And then how do we achieve this? We achieve this by using, first of all, we would use the search function to determine the position of the asterisk, okay? And we're telling it, find this text in, your within text is now this, right? This is the within text for us. So you use the search function to tell Excel, find this text for me. And I close the bracket, and this is what I have. So the position of the asterisk is in number 12, okay? And I want to tell Excel that all the values or all the characters that is after the 12th position, because the asterisk is in the 12th position. All the values after the 12th position is what I want, okay? And we are going to get that in a minute. We are still trying to get these particular characters after the last delimiter, right? So the next function we are going to put is we want to determine how many characters we have, okay? Because we see that the search function has told us that the asterisk is beginning from the 12th character. So we are telling Excel, basically, tell us how many characters do we have in total? And remember, we had 16, right? And we are going to subtract this from what we already have, and it's 4. So basically, the total number of characters that we have minus the other characters, okay? Minus the other characters before the last set of 4 numbers is 4. And then we would use the right function to see what the characters exactly are. And I'm going to do this, and I put a comma separator, and I come to the end, I put another bracket sign, and this is what I have. I have all the phone numbers after the last delimiter, which is the hyphen separator in this case. So like we can see, this has worked perfectly because we do not have the same pattern of data. So please practice this like very carefully. And when you understand the logic of how we are transiting from using one function to another function, it will be easy for you to grasp. The next example that we're looking at is how to remove um, the first n characters from a string, and I'm just going to expand it right here. How do we remove the first n characters from a string? So n characters could be any number. In this particular example, we want to remove the first 4 characters because we want to remove nga and the hyphen. We want our result to show us beginning from ngn. So how do we remove that from the text string? Using the function called write. Okay, so the first thing we need to determine is what is the total number of characters? Okay, len. And if you want to understand how to use the len function, just look at in the description box. There is the link to the video where we explained in detail how the len function is used so that you can, of course, come up to speed. So the len calculates the total number of characters. In this case, is 22. And we want to, how many characters do we want to extract? So in this case, we can see that the pattern of data is the same. So it is pretty much straightforward. We want to extract 4 characters, okay, from this so that we are left with 18. Now, in this case, we are left with 18 characters. What is the 18 characters we want Excel to tell us? What is 18? Show us the 18 characters from the right. Okay, show us the 18 characters from the right. And we do this, we do the right, we choose the A3. The norm chars is 18, so it's going to give us 18 from the right. And this is what we have. Easy peasy. 18 characters from the right is what we have right here. Right now, we're looking for how to convert the numbers showing as text back to numbers or back to values. We know that the write function is a text function. So even when you use the write function to extract numbers, it shows as text. The numbers do not have the characteristics of values in Excel. This means that you cannot perform operations that you would normally perform on numbers on that particular number because it's still showing up as text. So what needs to be done is that the numbers needs to be converted from text to values to make them suitable for arithmetic operations to be carried out on them. So in this case, what we need is that we just need the last 4 digits of these 4 numbers, right? And I am going to use the write function to do this. The text is this, and I put the comma separator. The norm chars is 4. Like I said, I need the last 4 from the right. And I'm going to drag this down. But these are not showing up, okay? These are not showing up as numbers because like you see right now, what I did was I just added both numbers together and here I'm having a 0. This is because Excel does not recognize these numbers as values. It's recognizing them as text for now because the function that was used to arrive at this result is the write function, which is a text function. So what we need to do is to convert this to numbers. And this is how we can do this. You just envelope the function in the value function to change it to values. And let me do the same for the rest. Like you see, this has already changed. And let me do the same for the second one. And I close the bracket, and this is what I have. Now we can see that I am able to sum both of these values because I have converted them as from text to values successfully using the values function. It's also important to note that the write function, being a text function, does not work on dates. So let's say we have some dates written out and you want to know what is the year or what is the month or you want to separate the day from the month and from the year, you cannot use the write function to do this because, like I said, it's a text function. The function that you need to use for this is the date function. And there is an extensive video tutorial on how to use the date function, where you see how to use the day, the month, and the year to extract the month, the day, and the year from a certain date string that you may have. And the link to that video is in the description box. So if you've been wondering how to do that, so please watch the video to see the step-by-step process with a lot of examples on how to do that for your dates. You cannot apply the write function to your dates to get this particular results that we have right now. I hope you had a nice time watching this video up to this point, where we have successfully talked about how to use the write function, and we also explained the substitute function, and we showed with practical examples how to combine the write function with search and substitute functions to get more flexibility on how to use the write function. If you like the content that you just saw, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're yet to subscribe, and hit the notification bell because we have more awesome contents coming your way. Thank you, and see you in the next video.